In this video, we're going to talk about a couple of things, including how we log into CourseDen, which is also called D2L. So sometimes people will say D2L, so we're going to learn how do we log into D2L, or also called CourseDen. We're going to learn about My Home versus Course Home. These are dashboards that you pass through on your way to your courses or through your courses. We're going to talk about getting around courses generally, and then I'll make sure that you know where to find that EDSI pre-orientation course in your CourseDen dashboard. Hopefully you've seen something like these instructions for accessing the EDDSI pre-orientation module. And item number 1 says to open a web browser to westcott.view.usg.edu. And then you have to pick whether you're going to log in using your own CourseDen login, which is preferred because the further you can push yourself, the better. But you can do everything that everybody else can do in this pre-orientation module if you use, well, let's say almost everything. You could do 94% of what everybody else can do by using the generic logins that are provided. And you can use any of these. It doesn't matter. You guys can, multiple people can use the same one. It's not a problem. So this is a good document just for also helping you to get in the course. So keep that handy. All right, so we want to log in. I'm going to log in using one of the pre-made generic logins. Again, I went to westcott.view.usg.edu. I'm going to hit login. Now this takes us to a sort of main dashboard of CourseDen, where you can find access to all of the courses you're enrolled in. Now this EDSI generic login only has access to one main course, which is this one over here under My Courses. We see EDDSI pre-orientation. That's where you guys should see this pre-orientation as well. If you're certainly if you're using the generic login, you should see it over here. If you're using your own login, you should also see it over here. If you don't see it over here, then you should contact UWG Online. And if you scroll down, I'm seeing some information about them right there. They've got an email address, phone numbers, and then multiple points of contact. Although I would start with a phone number Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 Eastern Standard Time if you're lucky enough to be having your issue at that moment. If not, I would either wait for that time span to hit, or I would email them. All right, so the course is there. Now this dashboard will show you all of the other courses you have. So this summer, once you've signed up and once the courses become available, at some point before the upcoming semester arrives, the courses will start to pop up. Honestly, I'm not sure when they start to pop up. I think sometimes they pop up weeks in advance, and sometimes it's only a few days ahead of time. So just keep an eye out, and if you have questions, you can always call UWG Online and ask them when those courses will be showing up. They show up when you register for them. They're not going to show up if you have not registered. All right, so we see some messages here. This is sort of an announcement board. This is at the university level, so we've got online course evaluations notification from this previous spring that just wrapped up a few weeks ago. We've got some notifications for freshmen and seniors. We've got some information about the new CourseDen and some known issues. So these are, as you can see, again, these are university level issues. There's a calendar. I'm not sure what kinds of items go in the calendar. I don't ever scroll down that far, but you'll learn if you're interested. I'm not sure if it's it's probably all of the things you have in all of your courses show up here. That's my guess. So it's like a consolidated calendar. That would be a guess again. All right, so this is your main dashboard for entering courses. So let me make sure that I am staying on track. We have talked about logging in. We've talked about My Home, and we're going to go look at a course home in just a minute. So a course dashboard. And then we're going to talk about getting around in a course. And we have already hit the EDSI pre-orientation course and where to find it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go to that EDSI pre-orientation course and look at its unique course dashboard. I just clicked it, and it doesn't look a lot different here, and that's okay. That's normal. It looks very similar to the outside dashboard. So But what we see here is some new buttons that were not on the previous spot. Like, let's click My Home, and you see all those buttons go away. But once you're inside of a course, you see you've got some tools. You've got the course home. You've got the content icon, very important. You can access various tools like discussions, Dropbox, quizzes. Your class list is where you can find everybody in the class, and you can click on their picture and read their bios if they've put anything into their profile. You can email people in this class. The locker, I think, is a place where you can upload files. Grades is where you can check on your grades throughout the course. And over here in the content browser, you can see the modules that are inside of this particular course. So you can actually access the content through this content browser if you like. For whatever reason, in the past 2 years, I've not yet become totally smitten with the content browser. I still just go through the content button. It takes you to the same place though, so I'm not sure why it matters to me. Over here on the left is the news feed for this particular course. So if you'll remember previously, we were talking about at the My Home dashboard, these were university level announcements. Well, once you're in that course, they're course level announcements. They can be videos, they can be text. You see the calendar for this particular course has some items that are popped up. Interestingly, these items were not on the previous calendar, so I'm not sure about my comment that these items would actually, that these course unique items would go onto that calendar on your main dashboard. But anyway, that's something for you guys to explore and learn about. We've got a library help widget here, and then little updates pop up here telling you about things that are going on in the course. Okay, so again, the course has its own dashboard. My Home is a separate dashboard. All right, so let's talk about going through the content inside of a module. Again, you can go through the content browser. You can just click on that, and then you can click this item. So one of the first items in Module 0, Welcome, is Welcome from the Director. I could click on that there, and that takes us directly to that first item. That's one way to do it. I'm going to go back to the course home, and I'm going to show you through the content button. You know, this may be easier, I don't know, but I like the content button because I feel like I can see everything. I'm going to hit content, and so yeah, you may be seeing too much though. This may cause too much noise for some people. But you can always click Table of Contents, and that will show you, so you see you've got 4 modules total in this whole course, and then you can see in more detail. We've got in Module 0, we've got 2 items. Module 1, we've got 7 or 8 items. In Module 2, you've got 7 items. In Module 4, a couple of items. So you can actually, from here, click on each of these things and go directly to them. As you finish things, you can check them off manually. And I think that's something else that I like about this, going straight through the content button as opposed to that content browser. I just like that big picture view. So let's go ahead and jump in. Let's just start with Module 0, Welcome. We can obviously we can click this, or I can click this, and then this. And so we are on the Welcome page. Now pay attention to these breadcrumbs. Again, I apologize for those of you that are techie, or you already know about all these kinds of things, or you're already familiar with D2L. But we've got the breadcrumbs. We know we're at the table of contents level. That's the top level. We've gone into Module 0, Welcome, and we're at the first item. We're at an item called Welcome from the Director. We may not be sure if that's the first or the second item, but we can look here. See this little expand side panel thing? You can click that, and it'll show you within Module 0. We've got 2 items. We've got these items: Welcome from the Director and Master Checklist. Okay, and once you've done this, again, you can check it off, and hopefully that will, it says you have viewed this topic. It will save that you've done that. All right, so here's a video to watch. You can now navigate using this left and right button right here. This takes you to the next item. The second item is actually a master checklist that I created for you guys, and you can check things off here. I'm not sure if you, let's see, if we check that off, that probably saves in the same spot that, let's look over here. Strangely, it's not checked off here. It's like you can have multiple places to check things off. I'm not sure about that. But on the checklist itself, you can actually check items off. I guess it's a separate checking function. So these are all the items that you're going to want to do. Here's Module 0. These are the things you're going to do. Module 1, the things you're going to want to do. Module 2, and Module 3. So you can, again, you can keep going to the right, and if you click right, you'll click through the entire course by doing that. And remember, you've always got this side panel. And then if you want to go back to your main table of contents, just kind of to the top page, get out of the whole course, but still see it, you can click that. Again, that table of contents icon, and that'll kind of give you that big picture view. So that's how you click through things. A very important note to mention, at least in this particular course, is that sometimes you'll come to a page and it seems like there should be something there, like a video, for example, but it might be a big blank spot. And so you want to be really familiar with how to unblock, how to turn off the blocking. And if you check out this document, I've got Firefox, Google Chrome, and Internet Explorer covered on how you make sure that those browsers are not blocking your content, because blocked content means you're not able to access your class. So you want to make sure you check that out. I even have a video I made to help you, to walk you through how to unblock that content as well. So I've kind of shown you how to work through the content of this particular EDDSI pre-orientation course. I've shown you a little bit about navigating through it. Keep in mind that each course is developed by your professor, so they might not use this tool right here, this master checklist tool. It's a little bit of a pain to put it together, but my undergraduate students seem to like it, so I like to use it. In this case, I'm using it for the whole course. I also like to, actually that's not a bad idea, I also use them for my individual modules in my course. So each module will have a checklist. So this is something you may or may not see in future courses. But you know, as I say, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. You might try to get your professors to use them if they're not using them and you like them, the checklists, or they might present the checklist in a different format. All right, so the point was that each professor designs a little bit differently, and so while D2L will always work this way so that you can access content through this button, how it's actually organized and how these modules are labeled may vary. I intentionally picked the word module, but in my other classes, in my undergraduate classes, I don't like the word module, and I use the word session instead, session 1, session 2. So there are things like that that will be different for you guys in the different classes that you take. So one thing I would recommend is that at the beginning of any semester that you take a good 30 minutes to just let it be your click-through time. That's your time for just clicking through it, seeing where you find things. You may not, you may find things in unexpected places, but it's just a good activity to kind of figure out, okay, how did this professor kind of use D2L, CourseDen, to arrange this class? I guess one thing that may be obvious to you guys, but may not be, when you're done working on something for the day, if you're done being inside of CourseDen, I normally just close my browser, but you could actually go here and log out if you wanted. All right, you guys, so head on over to your EDDSI pre-orientation module and check out the short, helpful little materials that we've put in there for you. Thanks.